Yo, what's going on YouTube, and welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte, and today we are talking about the Carolina Hurricanes and the Vancouver Canucks. Could they potentially be good trade partners? Let's take a look at that today. So, the other day, Elliot Friedman was mentioning something about Marty Necas potentially being a good fit for the Vancouver Canucks. So his quote was, "The Vancouver Canucks will be a team with interest in Marty Necas this summer." And we heard some more information as he kind of went along in his 32 Thoughts podcast. He said the Canucks are one of the teams that's also going to be interested in Jesperi Kotkaniemi. And I think that's interesting because, I think the Vancouver Canucks, obviously, we're expecting, unless something crazy happens here, Elias Lindholm will likely hit the free agent market. Whether he ends up in Boston or Utah or one of these other teams, there's still a slight chance he ends up back in Vancouver. But I think for the Canucks, they're thinking at this point, chances are we're going to need another center here. And Marty Necas and Jesperi Kotkaniemi kind of fit the bill for what the Canucks are probably looking to add here. Another middle six center into their lineup. Now, the question is, if I'm the Canucks, what's the price going to be, right? Because the price for a guy like Marty Necas is going to be high. It means probably at least a first-round pick. You're probably looking at one of, if not your top prospects. And are the Canucks ready to do that? I think it's one of those things where I think they would be willing to do that right now. I look at a guy like Jonathan Lekkerimäki. I look at a first-round pick, and something like that combination heading to Carolina could potentially be in the fold for some type of trade. Now, I don't know how Carolina fans would feel about that return, but I think the reality is Marty Necas isn't completely set on coming back to Carolina. Like, he might be the one saying, I don't want to come back. Now, I think it's a mutual kind of thing at this point between Kotkaniemi. I think it's a mutual thing between Necas and the Hurricanes. Jesperi Kotkaniemi's thing has been a little bit more under the radar. Necas' information definitely has been more prominent since the end of their season. I think the idea that they want to keep Jake Gensel also plays into this, right? So if I'm Carolina, you're getting Lekkerimäki in a first-round pick. Well, you're not taking back salary, which is huge. So now, in that event, you're picking up a really good former first-round pick prospect in Lekkerimäki and a first-round pick, potentially more depending on what happens, and you're also able to keep Gensel. I think that's pretty good asset management. And you look at the new GM coming into Carolina here, he might be looking to make some fireworks. He might be looking to make some moves, and maybe that's a part of it. And maybe the idea that the new GM is in there, well, maybe the idea is different. Maybe under Don Waddell, they would have traded Necas. Maybe they do come to the table. Maybe they do agree to a contract because of the new GM, and the GM believes in Necas. Or is this something more along the lines of, it just doesn't fit because of Rod Brind'Amour. It doesn't matter whether Don Waddell was there or not. Those are all the things that we need to kind of figure out here at this point. And to be honest with you, I think it is more of a Brind'Amour and Necas relationship issue. Maybe not issue, I think that's the wrong word for it. But it's more so, I just don't think let's be honest, Brind'Amour has other players in the lineup that he'd rather play over Necas. And that happens, that's fine. That's just how it works, right? There's only so many minutes for so many players. And I think if they decide to keep a guy like Kotkaniemi, they decide to trade Necas, that could be something that's there, right? And I think that it's interesting that the Canucks are interested in both Kotkaniemi and Necas, because they might be thinking, well, if they end up keeping one, maybe we'll try and go after the other one. And I think that's something that the Canucks should definitely explore. And like I said, you don't want to trade some of those guys, but the reality is, if you want good players, you have to trade good players. And if you're Carolina, you're going to sit there and say to yourself, we're going to have offers from teams like Boston. We're going to have offers from teams like Columbus. And who knows who else could be available, right? There's going to be teams in the mix there, I guarantee you. Teams like San Jose could be in there. Marty Necas is he is an asset that teams are going to go after. He's just stepping into the prime of his NHL career. They can, because he's an RFA, there's a little bit of control there. They'd like to sign him to a contract they agreed to instead of trading for a contract that was signed last year and they're like, all right, we didn't really sign this deal, but we'll take him because we like the player. I think they'd rather have a situation where they can, pen to paper, sign and agree with the player on the contract. That's what they have here with Marty Necas, and that's something that, like I said, a lot of teams are going to be interested in. Now, the other interesting thing with the Canucks is I think the Canucks are in a situation right now, they're going to be looking at other teams around the league and saying, where could we add maybe another defenseman? Because depending on what happens with some of their defensemen they have, right? Tyler Myers is a UFA. Is he going to come back? We don't really know. I think they should definitely be doing their work here, looking to see who's available and what type of player could we get in return to help solidify our blue line. Now, there's a couple of interesting players that I think should definitely be on the radar at the very least. One of the names we've heard his name thrown around in terms of defensemen available, I would be looking at Vegas. I would be asking the Golden Knights about either Nick Hague or Shea Theodore. I think both those defensemen are available for the Vegas Golden Knights, for the Canucks to trade for. I know you don't like trading in the division, but this might be a situation where you might have to bite the bullet on that one, and it might be worth it. Another interesting name is the Senators, Jakob CHychrun. Now, I don't know how far things got last time between the Jakob CHychrun and the Coyotes and the Canucks. I don't know how close the deal got. There was rumors that they had been talking about maybe bringing in CHychrun to Vancouver last year. So is there still interest there, or because of the contract and everything with the circumstance, maybe the Canucks are out now? But I think that's another interesting player to watch for. There's a lot of different things that I think the Canucks can do here. They have a lot of flexibility, right? You look at in between the pipes. They've got Casey DeSmith going out the door. Artur Silovs is basically the new backup. So it seems like their goaltending is set with Silovs and Demko next year. They're going to have some cap space to play with some of their defensemen leaving, but they got to bring new guys in. So this is a really good opportunity for the Canucks. We're going to see a different team there next year. This is a good stepping stone from what we saw from them this year. They went to the playoffs. They won their first round series. They almost beat Edmonton in the second round. They're right there. They're really close. And I think that for the Canucks, adding a guy like Necas could be the difference maker. He's been a really good player for the Carolina Hurricanes, not only during the regular season, but in clutch points during the playoffs. Necas scores big goals. So let me know what you guys think. If you're a Canucks fan, would you like to see a guy like Marty Necas or Jesperi Kotkaniemi or Jakob CHychrun come into the lineup next season? I'd love to know your guys' thoughts. Let me know what you think down below. Guys, we have a partnership and a sponsorship and affiliate marketing with the NHL shop. So shop.nhl.com. There's a link down below. We also have a QR code. If you go to our community tab, you could scan that. If you're going to be using those sites anyway, if you're going to be buying stuff in the off season, whether you're going to be buying memorabilia or shirts from the shop.nhl the website, you might as well help us out here at the channel. And obviously, there is a little bit of a kickback on my end, but you're supporting the channel and you're picking up NHL merch. It's win-win. So let me know what you guys think down below of the Canucks so far. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys again next time. Peace out, guys.